Welcome to the Corporate Streetz podcast. And if you listen to Mozart's Symphony Number 40 in G minor while cleaning your Glock 30 with 4 bodies on it, well, this just may be the podcast for you. And I am just normal Jerren.
And this is TJ.
And I didn't have any apologies for anybody from last week. I was going to shout out the light-skinned men of America, but we off of that now. So what I do have, just like...
Shout out light-skinned men of America. I'm repping on this podcast. I don't know what the hell he talking about.
Right.
Go ahead.
So just like you had last week, I am going to begin this podcast with a rebuttal to something you said.
Speak.
So I took a little offense to this thing that you said last week. Basically, I felt like you tried to hobby shame me.
Hobby shaming?
Yeah, you hobby shamed me regarding this dog thing, and you said
you call it. I don't know if it was shaming though. I was just saying that you guys. Was it really for the dogs or is it for the people? Because the dogs don't care where they running and jumping.
Well,
the people.
It is for both.
The people's just meeting up. You know what I'm saying? And dog, run.
It is for both because the dogs, it's not just any kind of dogs. They were working dogs. So working dogs, okay. There's different classifications of dogs, and then it's a working dog. So they have like the drive to want to run and jump. But I'm not about to explain this again. Look, that's besides the point. What my point is, I actually think that I'm pretty normal with my hobbies.
Okay.
And like I said, I was a little bit into the dog thing, but I'm heavy into like cigars, and I collect old cameras.
All right. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's normal stuff, right? And I'm somewhat serious about gaming. And even as a kid, I collected stuff. So I collected stamps, I collected rocks, I collected seashells.
Collected rocks?
Yeah. Like
just
cool looking rocks.
Like textures and looks and got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've always collected stuff. I even collected basketball cards, of course. And I was in that.
Yeah. I was in that scrap. I collected basketball cards. I actually still have my cards. I just looked at them.
Yeah, me too.
Oh shit, that's about a year ago now.
Me too.
I looked at them about a year ago, but I still have them. I still got some pretty good ones too. I got some Allen Iverson rookie. Well, I don't know how much they're gonna be worth now, but
yeah, probably not much. I think the card industry kind of fell off. But actually, I used to collect X-Men cards. I don't know if y'all did that at your school, but
no, we ain't do that.
So we had X-Men cards, right? And I was like, I had like the X-Men card trap house under like the monkey bars on the playground.
Okay.
And so like people would come up and I'll be like, yo, what you looking for? And they'd be like, hey man, you got that new Psylocke? And I'll be like, I don't know, man, what you trying to do, cash or trade? And they'll tell me, if they want to just trade a card or whatever. And then I'll like whistle to my homie and he'll be like, he'll go to the stash spot.
So you was dealing.
Yeah.
You was dealing.
Yeah. He'd go to the stash spot, and then we even had a lookout. So if like a 6th grader was coming, like, see, we didn't have pigeons to clap, but we did.
Right.
So we would just like use the kindergartners, right? And we'd just like clap, and the kindergartners would run away or whatever, So I was you still put in that work on the playground, man. And so that's how we do. That was some heat coming. Is when the kindergarten would come would clap. And so anyway. But yeah, I feel like my hobbies are pretty normal, right? But people are into all kinds of weird shit. And
so now you about to, since I hobby shamed you, hurt people. You about to hobby shame some other people.
No, I'm not about to hobby shame them.
You just called it weird. You just did the shit already. You just said other people was into some weird shit.
Okay. Well,
you just hobby shamed them already before you started. But go ahead, man.
You name it, it's out there. No, what I'm saying is that people could be into much stranger things than dog sporting.
Okay.
For example, there's like a hobby of extreme ironing.
Say that, I didn't hear you. The hobby of what?
Extreme ironing.
Oh, okay.
Like they would iron.
Extreme ironing?
Yeah, like so they'll be like on rapids on a little boat ironing their clothes. They might be on a mountain. They might be in a helicopter. they might jump out while skydiving and ironing a shirt.
Yo, I'm pretty good at ironing, but why are you jumping out of a plane ironing a shirt, dog? I don't.
Because you're
Why
extreme.
would
That's what
somebody do
extreme
that?
people do.
Okay. It takes a lot to be able to be falling from a plane and still do an action and do it well. That's pretty impressive, I guess.
But I mean, yeah. I mean, so what? It's not impressive that a dog can jump over a fence.
I didn't say that, man. I didn't say nothing.
Okay.
You keep bringing it up. I didn't say nothing wrong about your hobby of meeting up with
did.
other.
You kind of did. You kind of shamed me on that.
I was ignorant to it. I didn't know that people did that. I didn't know about it. So I was asking questions, though. That's all I was doing. I was trying to get more information.
Did you know that people collected like in-flight sick bags?
Collected what?
Like the in-flight barf bag.
Oh, maybe there'll be a collector's item. I don't know.
It is to
But
somebody.
see, those things, that right there, that's a guy collecting it, and that's his thing. He's not meeting every week with a bunch of guys with barf bags, though. That's
Actually,
his own little
he
thing.
kind of does. He has a website dedicated to this. There is a one guy in Singapore that has 388 bags from 186 airlines.
I didn't even know it was 186 airlines.
I guess he collects them from all around the world or something. I did
Yeah,
all this
man.
research. I did some research. Actually, your boy Bill Gates, he collects rare things.
Yeah, because he's got weird money. That's why. He's looking for something.
things.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, he's got money, so
Yeah.
he's got the money to blow. He's looking for something to blow his money on.
Well, speaking of something that he blew his money on, he actually blew. Actually, I'm gonna let you guess, but he paid for a manuscript that contained essays by Leonardo da Vinci. How much you think he paid for that?
It's not Leonardo DiCaprio. It's Leonardo da Vinci. I will say, what? A couple mil?
Times 15. He paid $30.8 million for this thing.
$30 million. Like, he probably can't even read it.
He don't even know Italian, but he bought this shit just to have it. I don't know, man. But you know what? So that's the thing. I guess we're not supposed to understand it. Everybody's not gonna understand it because, again, people just be into shit. And like, who would think? Why would I spend, say $800 for a 60-year-old camera? People wouldn't get that. It's film. I can't post a shit on Instagram when I take the picture. Why would I pay all that money for it?
No, I get the idea of collecting items. I get that. I get the collection. You know what I'm saying? I get people doing that. You can collect whatever you want because you think it's interesting. I kind of collect shoes a little bit. So
Okay.
I get it. I like shoes, and when ones come out that I like, I go and buy them.
Okay.
If I can get them and if I can afford them. I'm not the type that'll spend $2,000 on a pair of sneaks or nothing,
But it would be okay if you did.
it would. It would totally be okay if I had the money to do it. I got a family too, so I gotta kind of balance that out. Family comes first. If I was a single guy and didn't have no other responsibilities, I can blow $4,500 on a pair of rare shoes. But so I get it. I totally get that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to shame. I was just asking questions about the whole dog meeting thing. That's all.
Okay. Well, I still have a couple more because I did the research, so I'm gonna get these.
All right. Well, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Speaking of rich white men, do you know Elon Musk?
I do.
Okay. And so,
I do. He has a lot of money to blow.
Yeah.
And he has some cool cars out there too.
Yeah. And so for the people who don't know, Elon Musk is the founder of Tesla, which is a car company.
SpaceX.
And SpaceX. Yeah.
And SpaceX. He's doing it right now.
But so he, like you said, has a lot of disposable income, and he is actually like heavy into James Bond, and so he actually bought this Lotus from the movie The Spy That Loved Me. And
I don't know that movie. I'm not a movie head.
That's just one of the James Bond movies. You know, it's like it's probably like 30 of them now. And so they're saying that he's actually having his car converted into a car submarine, like in the movie.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so that would actually be kind of nice. I don't know if I would do that if I had that much money. Like, that's just
no.
If you
had Elon Musk money, then you would totally do something that kind of weird.
Yeah, you
would do something like that. I'm sure you would. It'd be something. It'd be like a camera car or some shit. You would make a car out of all of your rare cameras or something.
Like when I think of like having millions of dollars, like, you know, you always had that conversation about winning the lottery. I've never sat there and said like I would do some crazy stuff like that. I mean,
because you ain't got it yet, though. You ain't got it yet. When you got it and you feel like you won, dude, whenever you play Monopoly and you just busting somebody's head open in Monopoly, you get tired of playing. You like, I keep winning this shit. You keep landing on Boardwalk. You keep landing on Park Place. I'm bankrupting everybody, but I want to keep playing because I'm on top, so I'm going to give you money so you can pay me back. And it's like, I just need to blow some of this. It's boring now. I'm going to just give my money away. It's just like that in real life. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think I would do that. Like, I would get my, you know, the cars I want or whatever. I don't see myself going after any hero cars or nothing like that. Maybe. It depends on the hero car, but I wouldn't go through the trouble of converting the actual hero car to like a car submarine. I just don't think I would do that.
Man, like if you was in the Iron Man, you would go fucking buy an Iron Man suit or some shit. Like you, you would go
actually make the shit. Like, who would do that?
Somebody who got the time and the engineering skill. Yeah, he would. He totally would. He is Iron Man. He just makes whatever the fuck he wants to make. Bro.
Right. So last but not least, I do have one more.
All right, shoot.
And let's see if you can withstand shaming these people. So there are people out there who participate in a sport called competitive mooing.
Competitive what?
Mooing.
Mooing?
Yes, like mooing like a cow. They go to a competition, and whoever does the best impression of a cow, they win.
Who's judging this shit, man? Who's judging this?
Like, you don't have the judge, or it's the people that's participating? Who's the? I don't know.
I'm just saying to even have a competition, they have to get somebody who knows what a cow sounds like so well that they're gonna say that this one person is the best out of the rest of the people of sounding like a cow. Who is judging this?
I guess it's a farmer or somebody. I don't know, but I mean, there are people who go around practicing, you know, day in and day out before they go to bed, and they practice their mooing in anticipation of or preparation of getting ready for this mooing competition.
That reminds me of the air guitar people. I want to say who can do that. Like, who's judging that? Who's trying? Now I can see who's trying that. That shit sounds like a joke. Like, I'm going to act like I have a guitar in my hand really, really fast.
And there's a competition for this.
Yes. I can see that being a joke. I can see some young teenagers, maybe some mid 20s going and doing that competition, getting drunk and having a ball. But mooing, ain't nobody getting drunk and mooing, man. Somebody's really taking that serious.
Yeah, I really couldn't see myself doing something like that. Like, I think there is a point where I just don't belong, and I don't think I could see myself at a competitive mooing event.
You know what? If you were at a competitive mooing event, it's very likely you would be one of the only black guys there. You would probably be one of the token black guys there.
Kind of like I was at this dog sport thing. And actually,
Hey man,
we touched on that last week, you know, about the token black guy thing. And yeah, I definitely was, I don't know if I was the token black guy, but I was definitely the only black guy there. It's not like they invited me or anything. But
right.
I do tend to find myself in this situation quite a bit.
You know what? And that's really interesting. Just the idea. So I actually wanted to look that up because that term came up. The term came up in one of my little circles, and it made me want to go back and say, where did this come from? Token black guy. What does this even mean, right? Because my vision of token black guy is a positive one. It's kind of like you're the black guy that's there and you get to try to represent for the black guys, right? But when I looked it up, I was educated. It's, if you just look into just a dictionary, any one of your choice, Merriam, dictionary.com, whatever you choose, it's the practice of doing something only to prevent criticism and give the appearance that people are being treated fairly. And one other definition is actions that are the result of pretending to give advantage to the groups in society who are often treated unfairly in order to give the appearance of fairness. I didn't realize that. And by the way, that definition was of tokenism. It wasn't of token black guy.
I was gonna say that's like tokenism, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's tokenism. So that led me to, wow, why does that sound so harsh? So what is tokenism? So I just did a quick search, because do your research, people. Just stop listening to people and do your research yourself. And
so listen to you. They should listen to you telling them not to listen to people on research stuff.
No. They should definitely listen to me telling people not to listen to people and to research themselves. But notice what I'll do differently. I'm going to tell what my source was. And I'm going to offer the idea that people should go check it out because it was a pretty good article. So that's what makes me different. So,
and that's what makes you right.
No, it doesn't make me right. It makes me different.
That's what makes you qualified.
I just want to be different.
I mean, you're a advice connoisseur, so it's okay. That's all you have to say.
There you go.
Man.
I know we just talked about this. I'm an advice connoisseur. We're advice connoisseurs. But I'm just trying to do it differently. I don't want to just start spouting off stuff and you not know where it come from, because I didn't make the shit up. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to check what I'm saying, you can read it for yourself. It's a really interesting article. But I found something that Dr. King had actually wrote, and it was published in the New York Times, August 5th, 1962. It was called The Case Against Tokenism. And I won't go into the entire article because it was a few pages, but a few things that popped out to me was that he spoke of planned and institutionalized tokenism. So he was saying that back then in the 60s, what was happening, they were trying to give an illusion of desegregation and trying to include black folks. So places would hire a couple of black folks, or they would let a couple of black people into all white schools to appear to be no longer segregated. And he believed that tokenism was a tool for delaying integration. So I thought that was really interesting. And then he went on to say that the people who were trying to oppress, they understood that full resistance couldn't last forever. So their leaders began to just throw a few crumbs at black folks so they don't appear to be racist. And that was his idea of tokenism and why he wanted to go against tokenism. And so I thought that was really interesting, because I looked at tokenism as something totally, well, not tokenism. I looked at being a token black guy as something totally different.
Okay, so what did you look at it as?
Well, when I looked at being a token black guy, I looked at it as I have an opportunity. Since I am here, and I feel as though I got to where I am because I wanted to be there and I worked to get there. It wasn't because I wasn't thinking of it as a white guy placed me there in order to not look racist. And I didn't feel like I got there just because of affirmative action. I felt like I wanted to be in this place. Just like you didn't get you weren't invited to that dog show to round it out so they can have a black guy there, right?
Right.
So,
I just
but
showed up one day.
yeah, you just showed up one day, right? But you would have still, in my opinion, would have been the token black guy. You would have been the guy that gives the opportunity to show that other majority
That we're diverse.
how cool we really are. You know what I'm saying? You get to represent for the black guys. You get to be the token black guy and give them a representation in which they might not see before. And so that's how I always looked at being a token black guy, watching movies, and obviously they weren't historical movies. They might have been movies that were satires, but the movies that talked about being a token black guy, it always appeared that there was this one black guy who either acted out the stereotypes that confirmed what white people believed, or it was this black person that had the opportunity to show what black people are like, but not just in the stereotypical way. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way that I understood. That's what nobody's ever sat me down and talked to me about tokenism. So it really intrigued me. I was really intrigued by what I read. And that's why I wanted to share it.
Okay. I know, like, for me, I have, I've of course been in those situations where I felt like I was the token black guy. I mean, it doesn't bother me as much, but I mean, it is still a struggle sometimes. Like, for example, like, one of the hobbies I'm into is like cars, and so I'm not. Okay, I'm not gonna say I'm not the typical black guy, but most black guys aren't into like performance cars, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
Like, I know a guy who got a Camaro, and so the first thing I'm thinking is it a V8 or is it the V6 version? And of course, it's just the V6.
Right.
And then
maybe he didn't want a gas guzzler, man. What you mean?
Yeah,
of course, it was a V6.
but,
Maybe he was trying to save some money.
If you buy a sports car, you're buying it because it's a sports car. At least that's what I would think. But he's buying it for the appearance. So he's got like his big rims on it, and now people look at it and they're like, "Oh, that's a dope looking car," and I'm looking at it like,
Right.
It's just a V6. Like
it ain't even fast for real.
Yeah, and so I think a lot of the urban culture, that's kind of the way they lean towards with cars. I'm into modifying my car and stuff. I mean, I'm in like to imports, and so at these types of places, I would say it's probably like 95% white guys, and that's the Midwest. I'm sure it's a lot different in other places that aren't flyover states, but in Missouri, that's pretty much what the ratio looks like. And so the first thing I do when I get to these places, I look around and I'll just kind of walk around and kind of checking out the other cars, and I'm kind of looking for somebody that I know, because I don't want to feel this. I'm feeling kind of uncomfortable.
So you're looking for another black guy?
No, not even necessarily another black guy. I am definitely aware of, are there any other black guys or black people? But
so some shit pop off, you know what corner to run to, so y'all can try to click up.
Nah, just for the sake of I'm not sure why I do it. Just interested if there are any other black people here. Like, even when I'm at a wedding, I'm like, am I the only? Like, I'm the only black person here, and I'm working at the wedding as a photographer. Like, they ain't got no black friends, but whatever. So, or black coworkers that was invited to the wedding. That's always kind of funny to me. But so that's my top priority, is trying to find somebody I know, because I want to feel comfortable. Now, that might not necessarily be a token thing or a black guy struggle, but this is just the process that I go through. Now, if I don't find somebody, I'm normally cool, because, somebody will always come up to me and ask me about my car. And so I normally could kind of find somebody to kind of chat with, and, so it's good. But before that point, nobody would really talk to me. If I'm just walking around, unless I'm standing next to my car, that's when somebody would finally say something. Not that they have to say anything to me just because I'm walking around, but even if you come up and look at their car, they won't say what's up or nothing. And so, but since I've been into the car thing long, I mean, that normally won't happen. I normally would see somebody that I know. So,
Okay.
You know, I've been doing this for like 15 years, but the reason why I'm like that, especially at these car events, well, I mean, there was a time that I went to the track and, you know, drag racing, right?
Drag racing, because there's a lot of black guys doing that.
And who's gonna ignore that? I mean, that's my whole point. Like, you know, it's not a lot of black guys doing that because they are at, you know, O'Fallon Park or, you know, just cruising or just parked along the side of the street.
Right.
Just like, look at my car. I mean, that's not what I'm into. I'm into a car that actually moves and performs.
Right. So it seems like the guys at O'Fallon sitting next to that car are looking for the fashion of the car, and you're looking for more of the function of the car.
If they're even looking at that, I mean, because I think that's kind of poorly done too a lot of the times. But yeah, I mean,
look at you shaming. Check it out, man. That
looks
looks tight with the candy paint and the and the graphics and shit, man. That's hot to them.
Nah, I mean, it looks kind of silly to me, but that's just my opinion. And so
that's an old man opinion. But go ahead, you got your old.
No,
man
I think it's okay to make a car look good if it's functional. Like if you put a spoiler in a car and it's gonna increase your downforce, whatever that means. I think that's okay.
Yeah, 70% of people who's putting spoilers on cars don't give a shit about their downforce. Yeah. It's for fashion. It's not for function.
Right. So anyway, at the track, and I'm sitting there. It happened to be one of these days where I didn't know anybody there, and I'm sitting there on the stands, and there's a group of white guys sitting behind me, and like somebody throws like a drink down, and it hits me. And
it hit you?
Yeah.
Did you Ron Artest them? Did you go into the stands and go fuck somebody up?
I stand up and I'm like, you know, who did it? And of course they all just get quiet. Nobody says shit. So it's just one of me, and it's like 5 of them, and of course nobody is gonna fess up to what they just did.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they do it? Why did they pick me out of everybody there? I mean, it's just me there. I'm just by myself, minding my business.
Right.
Watching cars go up and down the track, but they hit me with the cup or whatever. So, I mean, that's kind of why I'm always trying to find somebody I know. I don't feel like that would happen if I was with somebody, but because I'm the one and only black guy at this track, basically, or in that area, you know, I was singled out, and so. So yeah, and then another thing I always do, so it's not always that intense, of course, but I do also feel like the pressure of having to prove my intelligence.
Okay.
So I just don't seem like a dumbass, you know, so like, for example, again, with car stuff, like, I don't want to be that guy that says, yeah, this Mustang has a JDM rotary engine. And basically what that means is, you know, it's an engine from Japan. Of course, a Mustang doesn't have a engine from Japan. It's just a U.S. car.
Probably because it's an American car.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah.
Right.
But people are, you know, there are people who would say some stupid shit like that. And
you know what? And that sounds like last week's fake ass connoisseur.
Right.
That sounds like some shit a fake ass connoisseur would say.
Or I don't want to be the guy that's like, you know, this is a 4.5 carbine. I don't want to be like that.
Right.
So. Yeah, I just don't want to be the one getting trolled and laughed at. So, I mean, I definitely feel the pressure to perform because I'm around a lot of white people.
True. I don't know if that's just being quote unquote token or not. I think that because just the media perception of African American people is that they don't know as much and they say stupid shit and they rap words that you can't hear and rap doesn't make sense. That's the perception that they give. And the movies, the perception is the one black guy that's in there is Steve Urkel and shit, you know, where they saying something that's a stupid tagline or they are upholding some type of stupid stereotype, right? So I think that a lot of African American people who are in settings that have a lot of another race, not even just white people, just a lot of another race, they feel like it's on their shoulders to represent for the black people out there that know what the hell they're doing and what they're talking about.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying about that. That was my perception of being a token black guy anyway, is that you have this opportunity to be the coolest guy you want. You can kind of write your own script. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that people are intrigued by black people because we kind of got a bad rap. You know, black people got taken from somewhere and put somewhere and enslaved for a bunch of years and wasn't taught to read and write. And then they had to fight their way through it and fight to be included. And then the fight still kind of continues and it's not easy, but we still somehow are resilient. And I think people are intrigued with that. So when you are the only black guy in a setting or the only black girl in a setting, you have the opportunity to show how smart we can be, how cool we can be, because people are intrigued. They want to know.
Yeah, but why does it have to be an opportunity to show stuff? Like, why do we have to put on a show?
You don't have to put on a show. And I don't mean it to sound negative, like we're court jesters, I said gestures, court jesters or something. We're not court jesters where we have to put on a stupid hat and tap dance for people. I'm not saying that. But anytime you're in front of people, I mean, even if I was a white guy, I would want to perform like the best white guy or the coolest white guy I could possibly be at all times. And that would just be my natural being me. So whether I'm around other black people or excuse me, if I was around other white people or if I was around black people, whoever, I would try to be the best me I could be. And that's just my mentality. So when I am the person that's the token, I feel like since we have a bad rap, it's my opportunity to show that we're smart too. I'm smart. Don't try to treat me like the stereotype you see on TV. That's all. It's not about tap dancing or nothing.
Right.
So I didn't want it to, and I just want to clear that because I don't want it to sound like I'm putting on the show or I'm faking. Although you totally can, though. Again, like I said, you can totally write your own script when you are the token, or my perception of the token black guy. I don't want to upset anybody that has this perception of tokenism, but my perception of being a token black guy, you can totally be the toughest guy in the world. They won't know the difference. You can totally be the hardest. You know, you came from the hardest background. You were the poorest kid, and now look, I went to UCLA and I made it. You can be that. You could have 3 bodies on you. Right. You could have shot people, stabbed people, and people will believe everything that you're saying for the most part, unless you fuck it up, unless you get caught up in a lie, right? But you get the opportunity to write that script around other people who are intrigued by you. So I think that is a positive thing, is that naturally other races will be intrigued by you. I mean, there are going to be people that just flat out hate you too, which is sad. But there are people who aren't racist who are intrigued by black people. And I think that that's pretty cool.
Okay, right.
Because we could still be getting hung and strung up in fucking trees. And although there are places in America that still treat African American people very poorly, I'm just thankful I don't live in a place where I see that every day. And if I did see that every day, I would try to get far away from that place, because that's pretty crazy. Wouldn't want to raise my kids or nothing like that. So, but yeah, that's my idea of token black guys, or token black people, whether it be guys, girls, or whatever else. Another thing I was thinking about was just the other day, I heard a name, right? Mm-hmm. And the first thought was, that's some ghetto shit. You know what I'm saying? That is some ghetto shit to name your kid, man. That's crazy.
What was the name?
Hold on, I'm trying to think of it. I think it was Chardonnay is what it was.
Okay.
And you know a couple of those?
I feel like
and you know what? I actually, after I thought about that, I felt bad because I felt like that was kind of judgmental. You know what I'm saying? To just say, hey man, that's a ghetto name. That's not fair for me to call that out. Chardonnay, you know what I'm saying? If that's what the parents thought, that's what they wanted to name their kid, then fine, you know. But well, shit, fuck it. That one is kind of that one's kind of ghetto because that's an actual, that's a type of wine, man. I don't know why they named their kid Chardonnay, but there's other names out there that people consider ghetto. It just made me think about the idea of ghetto names as a whole, and I was thinking about the Sharkeishas and the Antronisha, anything with a L, a Sh, a at the end, they're usually accompanied with the stigma of being ghetto. Why is that? You know what I'm saying?
I've wondered about that before, and you know what? I have no idea. I mean, I guess just because it's a name that mainstream America is not used to, or perhaps not accepting of. And when I say mainstream America, it's not just it's not like pointing to like just white people, because of course there's black people who are like, man, that's a ghetto name, or they're afraid of their names. Like I know people who would change their name, say like if their name was Tamika, you know, they might change their name to Tammy. You know, just
so you mean actually change it, or they just go
not
by
change
like,
it, but they go by it. Like,
that's what they go by,
you know,
because
put it like on a resume or something, or a job
oh
application.
Wow, they'll put Tammy instead
because they're afraid of how quote unquote ghetto the name may
so
sound.
I guess Tamika doesn't sound white enough. It sounds a little.
I guess they don't want to be pegged. I mean, it's not I guess, but I'm pretty sure it's about they don't want to be pegged as being black. And so whoever's looking at their resume is, I'm like, oh, this is a black ghetto girl. We don't want, we're not, he's going to throw that one away.
Man, and that's so unfair, man. That's totally unfair that a person feels like they have to change their name because they don't want to be pegged as a certain group. You're being judged by the name. That's whack.
But of course, everybody doesn't do that. And this is why I don't feel like people with quote unquote ghetto names, or I don't think the whole ghetto name thing should even exist, because nobody's calling Weisenheimer or Arflowski, and you know, like those names sound crazy, but
Schneider,
yeah, those names are okay. Well, Snyder sounds normal to me. I knew a whole bunch of Snyders, but you know, when you have like these 4 or 5 syllable names, you know, those names are okay. How those, like, why is that okay? Compared to your Sharkeisha, you know, the only difference I can see, is that those people, their names came from, you know, they might be Italian or it might be German, and you kind of know that's what that name comes from, and it's okay then.
Right.
You know, it's okay for you to know, like, oh, Arflowski, he must be Russian, and that's okay to prejudge that person and know that they're Russian, but it's not okay to be like, oh, Sharkeisha, now she has to be ashamed that she's black. You know, like, like what? Why is it like that? And I don't feel like people should be ashamed. You know, Sharkeisha, do your thing, girl. Go ahead, and I don't know what she can do with her name, but
no, I don't know what she can do. Sharky. Just Keisha. It'll just be Keisha.
Nah,
then
Keisha,
again,
that's still. It would have to be like Sherry.
It has the A.
She would change her name
if
to
it
Sherry.
has the Sherry.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Because the L, the Sh, and the whether it's the beginning or the end, that indicates what can be perceived as a ghetto name for some reason. And I think you hit the point right on the head. Is that I think that you understand for those other names you were naming that culture is used to having that specific type of name,
and they're
so
proud of it.
It must be that culture. But for black people, since they were taken away from wherever they were in Africa, right, and they had their set of names and they had their own language, and they was brought over to America and enslaved and given a different name, and their culture was wiped away. Now when you try to rebuild something new, I think it's just a tactic. It's another tactic to be able to segregate and to have a way to be racist. And there's a perception that was given that was, hey, that's ghetto, or that is not a name that normal people would name their children. That must be a black person, which is totally whack. But it happens. Not everybody does it, but it happens.
Yeah, and yeah, I just feel like, yeah, the black people definitely, they're just trying to build a culture basically, but of course they get shamed, or they feel shamed. A lot of people feel shamed themselves about like the names, and so Chardonnay, I'm with you. I think it's okay that you're named after a champagne or whatever Chardonnay is actually. I don't know what Chardonnay is, what kind of drink it is.
So a name like Khadijah, is that a ghetto name?
No.
Does that sound like what is perceived as a ghetto name?
I mean, in my mind, no.
If you saw Khadijah on a resume, or do you think a person named Khadijah would be afraid to have their name on a resume because they might get pegged as a black person?
Yes, they would.
You know what? That's really interesting because Khadijah actually has like an Arabic origin. You know what I'm saying?
And so that's like even worse nowadays.
So that is of an Arabic origin, and a lot of Muslims, they name their children Khadijah. That's a name that's popular in the Muslim community, is Khadijah. But now people could peg it as being a ghetto name, which is totally unfair.
No, they would peg it as not being a mainstream
normal
name.
Yeah, it's not a normal quote unquote normal name.
It sounds ethnic. We know it's not from Europe. We know it's not from Asia. We know it's not from South America. It's from Africa. It's from the Middle East. It's from somewhere dark, and that's what they would peg it as. It doesn't matter if it's ghetto or not.
Now, what I would say is knocking on the door of what can be perceived as ghetto is the name creation. You know what I'm saying? Because there are, and I know all races do it, but this is what we're talking about, ghetto. There are certain people who create names. They're taking the first name of the dad and the mom, and they're mixing it together, and it can sound a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? It can sound a little not normal. It's not fair for me to call it crazy, but you do start knocking on the door of, okay, that's a little much.
But what is that?
You created that name of the, mixing the dad's name.
But see,
and
what's wrong with that though? See, that's the whole problem, because so Shanquisha is the daughter of a man named Sean and a woman named Keisha, and why can't that be something to be proud of? If people looked at it as that, just like a person would look at being named Snyder as something to be proud of. This represents my heritage, and here we are trying to create our own heritage or culture since it was wiped out. How come I can't be proud that I was named after my mother and father? Why should I be ashamed of that? Because that's all we can do is create. We have to create. We have to start somewhere.
True.
I mean, somebody came up with these names, Arflowski and Willieheimer or whatever.
They came from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's take it a step further then. What about naming your child after what you perceive to be extravagant, affluent possessions, material things? What about the Mercedes, the Nauticas out there, the Versace's out there, the Gucci's? What about those? What about you named your daughter Gucci and she's walking around? Her name is Gucci Jones. What about that, dog? What's up with that? What your name is? Your name is Lexus Smith. What do you think about that?
I think first of all, you can name your kid whatever the hell you want.
You definitely can. But let's talk about it. We're talking about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I'm getting to it. So you can name your kid whatever you want. I mean, like I named my dog. I named my dog after a cigar.
Hold on. We know the politically correct thing. We know that. And true, you can totally name your kid whatever you want. And we're not talking about animals. We're talking about your child. You want a Mercedes so bad, you named your daughter Mercedes.
I doubt that's why people would name their kid Mercedes. I doubt that's
why do you name your kid Nautica? Why do you do that?
Because a lot of these girls, I've heard it 100 times. They're like, I think that's a cute name for a girl. That would be a cute name for a girl.
Okay.
It was your favorite article of clothing, but you just so happen to feel like that was a nice name. If you ever had a baby girl, you think the name Nautica sounds nice.
Right. And
I mean, if they named them Lauren, now that sounds like a normal name, right? But of course it's after Ralph Lauren.
I mean, but his name was a name.
But it's still after an article of clothing. I mean, I'm sure there might have been a Mr. Mercedes somewhere.
Yeah, there. So but yeah, Mr. Mercedes as a last name, and then you name your daughter.
What's wrong with that?
As a first name, and I don't know. It's just asking, man. I'm asking a question. What do you think about that, man? That's all I'm asking. Because I don't care what people name their kids at all, but
I don't think
it can be perceived. It could be perceived as ghetto that people are naming their children after brand name clothing, vehicles. I mean,
okay. So what about a person that names their kid Apple?
You know what? I'm pretty sure there's probably it's not that it's a ghetto name, but it's interesting that a person would name their child after a fruit or a company that they like so much.
Now, why would that not be considered a ghetto name?
Not saying it's a ghetto name. That's some ghetto shit to do. I mean, I don't know.
So I just pulled up a couple. I just want to take a quick look at some celebrity baby names. I've hold on, I'm not gonna say her name. Don't want no problems. Beehive. So let's just move right along from that one. So I'm just looking at somebody, Arthur Ashe. I think he was a tennis player. His daughter's name is Camera.
Camera,
like a camera. Is there a problem with that? It's a thing. What? It's not like it's a specific camera. It's just camera.
You know what? There's probably some underlying story that happened in Italy that I don't fucking know about. I guess, man. And just because I wouldn't do it don't mean that, that it's something wrong with that somebody else did it. But that's really interesting that somebody would name the child Camera. That's pretty interesting.
Erykah Badu has
I know this one.
7 Series. And then she has a kid named Puma.
Yeah, I didn't know about I didn't know the middle name was Sirius, but I did know 7.
Shout
Beckham. Out to Andre 3 Stacks.
David Beckham and Victoria Beckham. They have a Brooklyn.
Brooklyn?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that okay?
What? That's a cute name. It's a cute girl's name.
But it's a city. It's a dirty city.
It's a city too. It's a city as well, but I'm sure Brooklyn was around long before the city.
Where do you think they got it from?
Named Brooklyn. I don't know the history of it, but I'm pretty sure that Brooklyn came from somewhere before it was a city.
Tony Braxton has a son named Denim.
Denim.
Yep.
That's interesting.
That's a material. Do you think
it is a material?
Do you think they had something called denim before they had denim jeans?
I don't know.
I mean, since we talking about what was there before, I mean, Brooklyn's only been around.
That one's actually
that one sounds years.
That one sounds pretty intriguing. That's kind of cute. Denim. That's cool.
Okay, so how come Mercedes can't be cute?
Maybe I just didn't think it was cute. Shit don't sound cute to me, dog.
Hold on, but wait a minute. That's not. Hold on. Let me. Let's see. We got Courtney Cox has a Coco. Is Coco okay? Like that's a real name.
Okay, sounds like a nickname, but that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother topic. I feel like if you're gonna chop a name down anyway, you might as well just name the kid the nickname. Like you name your child Victoria, which is a beautiful name. Sounds very powerful. You know she's gonna be Vicky. You might as well just name her Vicky, unless you're gonna actually stress that Victoria is her name and it's really that important. I know people who stress their names. I know a guy named Michael who has a fit if you call him Mike. He doesn't like that shit because his name is Michael. He doesn't like it being shortcut at any time.
I don't like that.
Don't matter how cool y'all are.
I don't like people like that. Like a Christopher whose name is Chris. I don't like that.
No, man. Why you gotta cut it short? Don't cut that man's name short, man. His name is Christopher.
I don't want to say all them syllables. Like, you can't yell Christopher.
But his mama named it, so you respect the Mercedes out there, but you want to cut down Christopher to Chris. The man name's Christopher. Call that man by his name. That's what his mama named him.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of uptight.
So, ghetto names, man. I guess to wrap ghetto names up, I would say at the end of the day, don't judge people based off their damn name, because you have to remember their parents chose that name. So their parents might have been ghetto, but Chardonnay can be smart as hell. You don't know what Chardonnay has to offer, okay? She could be super fucking smart. Yeah. So stop judging people based off their names.
Yeah, and I just don't think the whole ghetto name thing, I don't even think it should exist. Like the whole thought process, it just doesn't. I don't know. It's like you said. It's just another way to be racist against somebody, and or to self-hate, because black people definitely use that kind of phrasing themselves. You know,
right?
So I just think
anything that's abnormal or unique or going against the norm is going to be looked at sideways at some point until somebody makes it cool. Like the whole Kim Kardashian when she wore the cornrows, you know, African American girls been wearing their hair like that for thousands of years,
right?
And you can't wear that shit in a workplace. You can't wear that with anywhere that's classy. You know what I'm saying? You can't wear that to any type of event without being looked at crazy. Kim Kardashian jumps up and put a couple cornrows in her head, and it's the dopest hairstyle ever. They call them the Kim Kardashian braids. Are you fucking kidding me? Right. But hey,
I think actually that was like one of the Jenner girls, like Kylie or Kendall, actually, who did that most recently.
Yeah, she does it too. I want to say no, Kim Kardashian did it too.
Oh, okay.
She did it too. I think one of the Jenner girls did it after Kim did it. But anywhere go, it happens all the time. Something that looks unique, looks different. People judge it until a cool person of their own kind do it, and then it starts being accepted. So you start having a bunch of white Sharkeishas is going to be a cool name when mainstream white America adopts it. It's just going to take a couple of the Jenner girls to name their kid Sharkeisha, and then it's going to be all dope. It's going to be good to go.
Well, good luck waiting for that.
Yeah, man. That's what it is. So speaking of celebrities, though, since we're talking about the Kardashian clan and the Jenner clan, have you ever met a celebrity?
Yeah, I've met a few, actually.
You have?
Yeah, I definitely met a few of them.
Well, I had one situation. I hope your situation was better than mine. I had one situation where I met a celebrity. I mean, I've met a couple of celebrities. They might not have been. They weren't. I didn't meet them when they was popping. But the one that I met when he was popping, man, fuck it, I'm just gonna get into the story. So check it. I went to All-Star Weekend one time. Shout out to my wife for letting me go. because All-Star Weekend is during the Valentine's Day weekend. So I went with some homeboys from high school.
And shout out to all the chicks that be going up there trying to find them a baller.
Right. Shout out to all the chicks that be wearing those heels and shit and wearing those skirts that are too small and be out there in the freezing cold in February. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
New Orleans wasn't that warm. I think last one was in Canada. Shout out to all of y'all freezing out there with no jacket. Y'all was freezing. But anyway, so went to All-Star Weekend, hung out with some really cool guys. I mean, when I say cool, I don't mean just they was cool to hang out with. I mean, they was super cool. I mean, they super stylish cats, man. So they allowed me to hang out with them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that was what's up. So I'm out there. I got out there a little early though. I got out there a night early than what they got there because where I'm traveling from Cali. So all the flights would have been, later. I would have got there and missed the whole day, basically. So I got there a night early. So I decided to, I used Yelp, found a couple places where I can go and get me some oysters and all the good fixings, get some gumbo.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Found me a spot. I sat down. I'm eating. I'm watching some All-Star festivities on the TV, and I'm enjoying myself, man. It's a good time. And Wale, the rapper, the artist, walks in. Him and a couple guys, him and his boys.
Right.
And so actually, I need to go back a little bit. When I'm on the plane going to New Orleans, I'm on Instagram and I'm looking around and I see Wale. I see Wale's page and he's ranting about something, and whatever he was ranting about, it was right. I was like, oh man, that's cool. So I went in and liked this picture or whatever. And that was that.
You double tap Wale's picture.
I went ahead. I spent the time to double tap. So I double tap homie's picture, right? And so imagine it freaked me out. Some hours later, I see homie walk in. I'm like, oh shit, that's Wale right there. That's crazy. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about, am I gonna walk up to him? I don't want to just jump on his dick. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Wale, where you staying? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be one of those. So I'm like, how am I going to do this and still maintain my manhood, right?
Okay.
So I'm thinking like, man, ain't nothing wrong with saying what's up to him. I'm just going to say what's up to homie. Let him know that I see him and, So I walks up to him and his clique. And his boys is already looking at me kind of weird because they don't know what kind of bag I'm coming out of. And am I going to say something crazy? You know what I'm saying? Am I going to try to rob them? They don't know who I am, right? So they all looking around, and I get the opportunity to speak. I'm like, yo, Wale, dog, I follow you on Instagram and everything, dog. And he just kind of went silent.
I was going to say, like, what was the rest of it? Like, what else?
Just kind of went silent, dog. And I walked away. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I just told this. So I don't know what it means to be starstruck. I should have researched that a little bit to understand that. I should have researched it to understand what that is, to see if that's what I did.
I think you just defined starstruck.
All right. And what's crazy is that I don't even, man, I mean, he's a dope rapper. I like his music, but he's not Michael Jackson, dog. He's not fucking Michael Jackson. He ain't Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? He's a good rapper, but man, I can't believe that that's what happened. So I'm sitting there, and now I'm pissed because the opportunity that I had to speak, I say some stupid shit like, I follow you on Instagram. What kind of shit is that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. You might as well, like, it sounded like you might have been one of the chicks that was down there. Like,
right. I sounded like a straight groupie.
On Instagram.
I sounded like a straight groupie, right? So I'm sitting there, dog, and so now I'm thinking about how the fuck am I gonna redeem myself from that? There's no way I can sleep tonight knowing that that's the way I left that, dog. That sounds so lame. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, should I say something again? And I was just thinking. And so I said, yeah, man, I finally got the balls to say, man, fuck it. I need to go back over there and say something to homie. And I walk back over. Now his friends are really looking because they like, this groupie just left over here. What does he want now? You know what I'm saying? Why is he interrupting our conversation? That's the kind of feeling that I got. And I'm like, yo, that last shit that I said, man, that was lame. I came over to let you know that I like your music. I listen to all your albums. They dope. I like what you do. Keep doing what you're doing. And you're a cool artist, dog. I appreciate your music. And his boys, they put a hand out. They was dapping me up. You know what I'm saying? They was shaking me up. They was like, yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. And I walked away, and I felt like, all right, at least I kind of redeemed myself.
Yeah. Did he?
Yeah,
so he didn't say nothing that time. Did you say
his
boys?
Yeah. You know,
you said his boys dapped you up, but what did Wale say?
Yeah, he was like, yeah, that's what's up. You know, they all kind of said it at the same time. Yeah, that's what's up. And then, I mean, because at the end of the day, I don't know what he was doing, but he was high out of his mind on something. It was probably weed, but he didn't look like he was very attentive. You know what I'm saying? He was in his zone, and he was trying to watch the game, whatever was on TV.
Him.
And yeah, I kind of interrupted him. And that's the shit that these artists be talking about. It's like, man, I can't even go out to eat. You know what I'm saying? Without like somebody interrupting.
People like you running up.
Yo, but it's also
Wale, I follow you on Instagram. And I love everything. No, you didn't even get all that shit out. You just like, I follow you on Instagram.
Yo, dog, I told that grown man, I follow you on Instagram, dog. That was so whack, dog. Yeah. That was so whack. That was terrible. So anyway, that was my story. And shit, man, I bought homie's albums, dog. So he can spend a couple seconds, you know what I'm saying, acknowledging that I was there. Although I sounded like a groupie the first time.
I'm not sure if I would have approached him because he seems kind of angry most of the time. First of all, I don't really care for it. I haven't heard anything from him that I personally like as far as music.
He's a lyrical dude. I like him. I like the fact that he's lyrical. And he was before Kendrick. He was before J. Cole. He was before the cats who were he was before, I guess he was right around the time Drake. But
I mean, we know you a stan. I mean, it's cool. You don't have to defend him. I mean, you already.
I won't say all that.
I mean,
I won't say all that.
You ran up.
I ain't no stan, man. Come on, man.
You ran up and it showed him your Wale tattoo and stuff. I mean,
yo, dog, I fucked up, man. It was crazy.
So,
all right, man.
I never. The times I met celebrities has never been kind of cold like that. I would say most of the celebrities that I met was based off of photography stuff.
Okay.
Like,
so you acting like the picture guy so you can get close to the celebs. Okay, that makes you better than me.
No, first of all, I wasn't the picture guy. I take offense to that wording. I'm a photographer. I know things about cameras and how they work and all the technical stuff.
All right.
So I'm definitely not the dude. Okay, that's a sidebar. I hate it when I'm at a wedding and they be like, the picture man is here.
The picture man.
Like, that just makes me feel like I'm the guy at the club with the camera. That's right. A picture man. I create art. I'm capturing moments. I'm documenting your day. Or if I'm shooting up.
So is the club guy. You know how many memories he creating? You know how many memories he created in front of that champagne bottle background?
Right.
With the morse. How many memories he's created with that chair, that straw chair?
Right.
How many memories he got, man? Don't shun him.
Hey, that's the picture man. I'm not a picture man. So
right.
So there's a few. I mean, so one time, I don't know if people remember Murphy Lee.
Yep.
You
rapper from St. Louis.
Yes, rapper from St. Louis. So
gotcha. St. Lunatic.
He seemed like he was about to kind of bubble one day. Not one day, right. But at one point.
Gotcha.
And this was after he had the song, the Bad Boys from the Bad Boys soundtrack.
Oh, Shake Your Tail Feather. Yeah. Was that his? Or was that Nelly's?
Well, it was Nelly's song, but he was
on there,
prominently featured on it along with Diddy. So, I mean, if I was on a song with Diddy, I would think this is it.
It's about to go.
And it did appear that way.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it didn't quite work out. And
So you tried the groupie him, but go ahead. What you do?
no, I didn't at all, actually. So I had to do. He was doing this photo shoot, and I was. This is around the time Pimp Juice was also out, the song and the actual drink, and he was like the spokesperson for Pimp Juice.
Nice.
And so Pimp Juice asked me to come to this photo shoot and kind of shoot some behind the scenes stuff with him and shoot some pictures of him like with the Pimp Juice.
Right.
And so that's why I was there. And
did you taste the Pimp Juice?
I don't think I've ever tasted it.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever tasted
it. Was good. I think it was an energy drink or some shit, right?
It was an energy drink.
Yeah. Okay. So Pimp Juice called you out.
I think Nelly was like the first person to be on like the drink thing. Pimp Juice was the original, like before 50 Cent was on Vitamin Water.
Yeah.
Nelly is the first like to kind of just jump out and just go after something that was kind of out of the ordinary for rappers.
Oh, okay.
So that was good, I think. So anyway, so I'm at this photo shoot and I'm like, I wasn't really quite excited or starstruck, even though this was Murphy Lee. He was just on set with Diddy and stuff. But
okay,
just something about, I guess, I wasn't like that big of a fan or whatever.
Okay.
I wasn't really impressed. But who I was impressed by was the photographer, which was turned out to be Jonathan Mannion.
Oh.
I expect most people not to know who this is. I know I've told you about him before, but for the people,
right,
for the masses, Jonathan Mannion has shot some of the most epic, the most recognized album covers, hip hop.
Right.
And
by the way,
covers.
you know Jonathan Mannion if you've seen his work before.
Oh,
all of you.
You've definitely seen his work.
You've seen his work.
One thing that stands out to me is like. I forget what. I think it was is it Blueprint? When was it Blueprint 3 when Jay-Z had that commercial and it was like him going through the motions of doing all of his album covers?
Oh,
you remember that commercial?
I do. Was that Blueprint 3? The Blueprint 3 album was the one where everything was all white, all the instrumentation was all white.
But the commercial
commercial, I do remember that commercial.
So okay, all of those album covers that he went through, Jonathan Mannion shot every one of those, just to give you an idea of how epic this guy's career has been. So anyway,
yeah. By the way, so every Jay-Z album cover up until
Blueprint, I think. BP3.
I think
because that's the first one that it didn't have him on it, right?
Yeah, everything but Blueprint 3, right? Yeah. I don't know about Blueprint. Did he do Blueprint 2? He might have.
He definitely did. It was
Jay-Z's face.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, he did.
No. Blueprint was the blue one.
Right.
Blueprint 2
just had his face on it. It was that he had two versions of it, but
I'm pretty sure.
I think it was one.
I'm pretty sure
Jonathan
Mannion shot that too.
Yeah, Blueprint 2.1 was when he took it from a double disc to a single disc was red. But
so anyway, I'm at the set and I was just kind of asking him like, because I saw he was shooting with some old cameras. So I'm like, oh, what's up with that? And so I talked to him.
Dawg, what kind of what kind of camera you got on you?
Do you got a card or something? I would just like to take a look at some of your work because I didn't know who he was. And like I saw, he gave me a card and I looked it up real quick, and man, I was just blown away. I instantly turned into a fan. I didn't say nothing else to him because
So wait, time out. If they got Jonathan Mannion there, what the fuck were you doing? Why did they call you?
So I'm shooting the behind the scenes stuff. He's not gonna shoot no Pimp Juice stuff. He's there being paid to shoot this album cover.
Oh, what album cover was it?
I think it's one that never came out. I'm not sure.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
exactly. I didn't mean to turn into a sad moment. Sorry.
No, hold on.
It's sad that the album didn't drop.
Now you got me curious. See that?
So
Google is so spiteful.
Informative.
So I type in Murphy Lee, right? And the first thing it says is net worth. Why they gotta be like that?
That's not Google's fault. It's all. So the thing that come to the top is the shit that people be searching. It's these nosy people out here that want to know, yeah, this guy who was supposed to bubble, who didn't seem like he bubbled, how much money he got. I bet you I make as much as he do. That's just people, shallow people, man.
I'm looking right now. I do not see the actual album cover or a photo from the album cover. So I don't think
was it a Murphy Lee thing? Was he shooting his album?
It was definitely his album.
Okay.
So anyway, Murphy Lee and Jonathan Mannion. So that was like that kind of set a tone for every time I met somebody. So that was like another time. Another time, I was doing some behind the scenes stuff for Cedric the Entertainer. He was doing like this Martin Luther King, like they were doing like the monument or the memorial or whatever, and they were trying to raise money. He was doing this commercial, and somebody asked me to shoot the behind the scenes stuff for that. And so I got to meet Cedric the Entertainer. I got to shoot him, actually. Did photos of him at that shoot.
That's dope.
You know.
Did he pay you?
101. We did get paid.
Okay.
I did get paid.
What's his net worth?
I don't know. He's still actively working though. And so, but here's the funny thing about that one. I wasn't like starstruck by him. But who I was starstruck by was his bodyguard. And
who the fuck is he?
I'm kind of weird like that, right? So his bodyguard, when I was walking
guy.
When I was walking in, I saw this man and I immediately knew who it was. I was like, man, that looks like old boy from Iron Ring. There was a show that was one season long on BET called Iron Ring, and it was basically like black MMA guys.
Okay.
And like the rappers had like made teams. They had rappers on there, and they had teams, and each guy had like 4 guys. And so,
I remember that.
One of the guys who was like kind of over the show, like he wasn't the host, but he was like kind of like one of the main organizers or whatever. He also was Cedric the Entertainer's bodyguard, and I was like really, really getting into MMA stuff. I was, I wasn't actually doing MMA. But I was watching a lot. And so I saw him, and I was more starstruck by him. I asked to get a picture with him and everything. That was the bigger highlight of my day that day than actually meeting Cedric Entertainer.
Ced was pissed. I bet you Ced was like, you don't take no more pictures. You're a bodyguard. Yo, how's he protecting Ced and he's snapping shots? See what I'm saying?
He was outside like smoking a cigarette or something. He wasn't even in the building.
Ced could have died in there, man.
Yeah, it was like 8 kids out in there. Yeah, they probably could have got him.
They could have murked Ced. What is he doing? Yo, his street IQ ain't up. We need to talk about that.
Right.
That fool's street IQ is terrible.
It did. But see, here's the problem. Here's my problem. So a lot of the times, I feel like I have to impress. I feel the need to impress these celebrities, especially if I know I'm gonna meet somebody.
Right.
And
okay.
So for example, I met Andrew Schultz, who's a comedian. He was on God Code, Bender's Brilliant Idiots podcast. You should know him. Everybody should know Andrew Schultz. He did a comedy. He did a comedy show here in St. Louis.
Okay.
And
yeah, he's a funny guy.
And I was like front row. I mean, I'm a fan, right? And so after the show, he just walked out and he just stood there at the exit, ready to meet people or whatever. So I go out there, and like he's a comedian, so I want to see if I can make him laugh.
Right. Okay.
And so I'm thinking of all these things, and what I figured what I was going to say to him was, I was just going to ask him for his Jordans. Like I was trying to make him like basically talk about like mention that on the show on the podcast. Yeah. So I was like, "Hey man, let me get your Jordans," and he's like, "Nah." And I was like, "All right, well, let me get your hat." And I was like, "Let me get your hat." And he's like, "Nah, man," and he kind of just chuckled a little bit. So yeah. I got a smile out of Andrew Schultz. And then another time, another podcast came to read.
And where'd you see him in St. Louis?
Yeah, it was in St. Louis.
He was probably looking around to see if this wasn't some type of setup. That's what he was. That's why he got a smile. I was like, "Yo, are you serious? Are you playing right now?"
I was like, "No, I want a souvenir, man." Like, And so I actually have a plan. The next time I'm gonna say the same things to him again, but then I'm gonna be like, man, come on, man. I watched Benders. I was like the only motherfucker who watched Benders.
Right.
You know.
Now that's funny.
That's so funny. Yeah, I definitely get a laugh out of him, and I'm gonna ask him for his shoes and his hat again. And I'm gonna tell him I think he's great.
I'm just gonna put it out there that you begging for Andrew Schultz shoes is not that much better than me following Wale on Instagram. I just want to make that point.
But it was a joke. It was intended.
Mine was too. I
follow you on Instagram was a joke.
Nah, yeah, man. That was you ain't laugh at that shit. Man. You ain't just laugh.
He didn't laugh. He was like, "Oh man, yeah, that's cool." So I met the Reed, Crystal, and Kid Fury, and so I wanted to make them laugh. And so what I said to Crystal, I said, I plan to propose to you, but I couldn't get the ring out of layaway in time. Mm-hmm. And she kind of was just like, okay, and kind of had her like awkward laugh. And Kid Fury was like, well.
She's like, awkward.
Yeah, and Kid Fury was like, well, that's a very valid reason. And so so my joke made him make a joke. So I was impressed. I was happy about that. I think I got the best reaction that I could get.
Okay, but it sounds like you 0 for 2 right now, though, dog. Like,
no, it's cool.
Laugh shit.
No, it was cool. The time I really did bomb was now I did have a time where I bombed.
Was it the time where you got tomatoes thrown at you? I was
saving this one for last.
Okay.
And so, as a photographer, I was asked to shoot this Cream release party. Now, Cream is this liqueur, right? Liqueur. Okay. That's what you say.
Liqueur. Yeah.
It's a liqueur that was the face of it was Pharrell. And
nice.
So Pharrell was running around having all these release parties in, I guess, the
larger
cities. And so Pharrell was like, and so I'm there. I'm shooting this, doing this really nice party. And Pharrell, well, hold on. Before I get to Pharrell was there, right? He was just kind of sitting he was just kind of sitting and chilling. He had a DJ there. The DJ turned out to be JD, Jermaine Dupri. Right.
Okay, that's dope.
So I didn't even know Jermaine Dupri actually was a DJ.
Still DJ?
I didn't know he was a DJ in the first place, but Pharrell hired him.
How you think he brought the brat out, man?
I thought he was just like a hype man producer guy.
Okay.
I didn't think he was he was like on the ones and twos kind of DJ. And so he was actually working. And so that was kind of funny to me. But anyway, it was just kind of strange because people was walking by JD like he was just some regular old cat. Like he was just a regular DJ. But he was like straight up working. And me, I'm kind of being disrespectful. Like, hey man, can I sit this lens right here while I do this kind of thing?
Like he ain't JD.
Like he wasn't JD. Like he was. This is right. I think this was right after the Janet Jackson breakup. But I mean, this is a man who was sleeping with Janet Jackson.
But you know what you told him? All you do is spin records. For those that don't know, that was
so I was kind of disrespectful to him, man. I wasn't really impressed, right? I don't know. It just seemed he was too close. It was just he was too accessible, right? Now, Pharrell, on the other hand, he was like it wasn't a roped off section, but it kind of had like an invisible rope. People just knew not to really be up in there. But people would walk up and they'll kind of wait their turn to come talk to him, right?
Okay.
So anyway, so I'm just, he knew I was there. I was introduced to him by the Cream people. And, he knew I was there as the photographer or whatever. And so when they introduced me to him, like this is before I had like big planned out like jokes or whatever that I wanted to say to celebrities.
Yeah.
And actually this thing came up at the last moment. And so anyway, I walked up to him. And man, I wish I could remember what I said, but I can't remember what I said. I tried to say something. I feel like it was some kind of joke that I wanted to make him laugh, but I didn't know nothing about Pharrell. I didn't know nothing about his personality for real. But I knew who he was. I knew he was huge, and I was a little nervous. And I said something to him. He was like, "Oh yeah, man, that's cool." And and that was it, man. I just was like, "Oh, okay," and I just walked away and just like I was just gutted. I felt.
You know what?
I felt like I bombed in front of Pharrell.
No, dog. That's why you feel like you got to make people laugh now, cause you got to get that joke off. You still trying to come from up under that bomb you did, man.
Like that was my one opportunity to impress Pharrell. I didn't care about JD. I didn't care about impressing him. But Pharrell, I did want to impress him, and I completely bombed.
You messed that up.
I really wish I could remember what I said, but it wasn't.
No, you don't. It's good you forgot that shit.
But he did have a good taste in women. Like the girls he had around him, they all looked good. They were right up my alley in the taste of women that I like.
Oh, okay.
You know.
So you could have bonded about that. You could have been like, "Yo."
Well, that was before
he
made some girls, good. Actually, that was before he had them around him. But
oh, okay.
It was kind of weird. They was just kind of. It was like 3 or 4 girls that was around him, and it seemed like they could have been friends. And I don't know. It was kind of weird, but. So yeah, man, I bombed on that one, man. And those are the standout celebrities that I've met.
All right, I met there's a couple other times. Like I said, I met some celebrities and celebrities walked by, and I didn't say that stupid shit that I said to Wale. So I don't know what that was. I don't know what happened, but I will make sure that never ever ever happens again, because that was so whack. Right. But I redeemed myself for the moment. He probably only remember that it happened, and his boys.
He might, man.
If they ever heard this, they'll probably laugh at me.
He might.
I'm glad they didn't make a song about me.
He might remember that time that dude walked up to him. It was like, Pharrell, or not Pharrell, but Wale, I love you. And I follow you on Instagram. I like all your posts. They probably laugh about that shit every day. They probably do. They probably be driving them about it. You know. Just teasing them about.
They probably do.
Hey man, you remember that time when old boy walked up to you? It's like, hey, Wale, I love you on Instagram.
And it didn't go like that, dog. Shut up, man.
It
didn't go like that. They probably do. That's cool. But I came back. I think they let it go because at least I came back. I could have left it like that. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll be getting driven as we speak.
It don't matter.
You know what I'm saying?
Man. You said
but
it.
I went back. I went back.
They don't care about that apology, man.
People make mistakes, man. People make mistakes. Man, so that's enough about the celebs. I got something I want to say. I got some stuff that I want to address.
Okay.
I've been thinking a lot about part-time activists, dog. I'm talking about the people who are activists and it's only for part-time. My understanding of a true activist is a person who wants to see a change and they devote a lot of their time trying to make sure that change goes through. Not these people who see something on Twitter and then they're super duper involved for 5 minutes because they sent 3 tweets that were about 140 characters, and then they're super righteous, and then they go back to doing the shit that they want to do.
Yeah, I would say that this has reached epidemic proportions.
Right. We're at an all-time high right now. We are at an all-time high. It's pretty epic, and the shit is annoying. And at the end of the day, I really don't care what people do because people are going to do what they want to do, and they should be able to do what they want to do. But it needs to be said that the part-time activity is kind of disrespectful to the people who devote their entire lives to something, to a cause that means a lot, and you just spend your couple of minutes talking about what you want to do and how it should be, but you really don't do shit but spend that couple of minutes in those couple of posts.
I was gonna say, is it even just a couple of minutes? I mean, they just post about it and
then it's gone,
and
right?
It just ends there.
Right. And you know what? It could be the activity could be anything. The thing that's been hitting me lately is the black activist, super black power people
Okay.
talking about black this and black that, and the people who are talking about whether it's Black Lives Matter is a sham, or whether it's Black Lives Matter is there's a white man behind it running the whole program. There's actually people who are spewing a lot of information, and they all have podcasts as well, and they have YouTube videos, and they have platforms to get this information out. And the problem that I have is that they have a bunch of followers that just follow every little thing that they say.
Okay.
And it's pretty disgusting because back in the 90s, these are the same people who would drink cyanide thinking that a change was going to come, and they end up dying altogether. These are people who would join a cult, is what it seems like.
These people that join the cult, okay.
Yeah, that's what these people would do, just listening to these people and spewing all the information they get from these people, and they go and regurgitate it to other people. I think what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think another word for that that they like to use is lemmings.
What's the word?
Lemmings.
Lemmings?
Lemmings. Lemming, I think.
Oh, lemmings. I've never heard of that one.
So you know what a lemming is? It's like it's an animal. It's like
okay.
And so if you call a person a lemming, it's an insult. So so the biggest issue with lemmings, like there's a video, you just have to look them up. They are such followers, like they would just be in a big group and they'll run and jump off a cliff, and all of them, like a group of 100 of them, will all jump off just because they saw.
They all for the cause, baby. They all for the cause.
Somebody kind of like just blindly follows anybody, or they just listen to whatever they are told from social media, that person is considered a lemming.
Okay. And you know what? It's not just the social media people. I mean, we even have churchgoers and all kinds of people. If you listen just to what another person says without trying to do the research yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice. You know what I'm saying? And anybody who's trying to tell you anything and trying to speak it as if it's fact and it's not their opinion, and they're not telling you where they get the source from, or they're not trying to volunteer where they get that information from, please stop following them. You know what I'm saying? Or at least try to contact them so you can do some of the research yourself. Because just like that episode that I had, or that conversation that we had a few episodes ago about these memes that are coming out and people not doing research and just believing everything that they see, they don't know where the fuck it's coming from.
Right.
You people have no idea where this person is getting this information from. He could be getting it from somebody that he trusts, and that person don't know what the fuck they talking about. So stop the madness, stop the activity of just taking people's words and copying them and spewing them, because you keep the lies and the untruths and all that going. And it's usually the part-time activists that do that, because people who are truly into the movement, they want to know everything about the movement, and they try to learn the history of the movement. You know what I'm saying? I can't stand being in a conversation with somebody, and then this other person walks up or butts into the conversation, and he feels like he got to put his afro on. You know what I'm saying? Right. He got to put his afro on and start telling me about how blacks did this, and how the whites are doing this, and how Trayvon Martin this and Mike Brown that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's like, you really don't care about those situations. You really not out there trying to help. You really not out there trying to provide a solution. And if you really got that much of a problem with it, try to find a solution, man. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I was listening to this the other day, and such said that, there was a white man that's behind the whole Black Lives Matters campaign. Right. It ain't even black people doing that.
All they have to do, it's just.
And you know what? It might be true. It might be true. You know what? The person I was talking to, when they said that, I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. So, I forgot to say, the so-called person that's spewing that information made a statement like, oh yeah, and I know for a fact because I know some of the people that's in it. Is I know some of the names, and I'm waiting on these names so I can start Googling and researching to see if this thing is true. And the guy never divulged the names. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm just supposed to believe you blindly because you claim you know these. Yo, I would stop listening to that guy immediately. I would stop listening to anybody who's just spewing a bunch of information and they don't give me their sources. You know what I'm saying? Now, understand that journalism, there's rules to journalism.
It's kind of like Dame Dash. That's what Dame Dash said. So you are clearly a follower of Dame Dash. He told Charlamagne, like, what's your sources?
Not to be, not to be a chatty patty.
You being a chatty patty unless you know names.
Yo, I just have a problem with people making outrageous claims and they can't tell where they got their information from, or they're spewing information as fact. You know what I'm saying? If you can't name names, then you can't say that it's factual. All you can say is what I heard was, and then I can respect it as that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's my problem right there. All you people who put your afro on and get on Twitter and start spewing all this information, and then you take your afro off and you put it on your nightstand.
You done.
Stop putting on your afro and taking it off, dog. Like if you're gonna be an activist, support the movement, support the cause. Don't just be putting your afro on and taking that shit off, man. It's disrespecting the people who fight the cause every day. You know what I'm saying? And I understand every little bit helps. I'm not saying that you gotta quit your job and start going and do it, but your 5 minutes of you caring and then you don't care for the rest of the 23 hours, 55 minutes of your day is disrespectful to the movement, man. That's all I want to say about that.
Yeah, and I know it's almost time to wrap up, but I got something I want to say. I know this is your time, but let me just say this real quick. So I have a beef with iTunes.
Oh man,
with Apple.
Come on, man.
iTunes, right?
It better be a damn good beef, man. Now they're owning a lot out here.
I got some beef about some other things, but this particular beef with iTunes affected me today as I was preparing for the show. So before we start recording, I always listen to music, and so I go. So I used to buy a lot of albums and songs and stuff from iTunes, and pay for the stuff, right? And so I've been doing this for years, and so the songs always follow you. You pay for them, so they make sure you keep them. I don't know if they changed something recently or what's going on, but I'm struggling in these streets, and so my my card, I tried to buy something. And like the money wasn't on the card to cover whatever I was trying to buy. I think it was like a title subscription or something is actually what did it. And, and so they temporarily pause your card until you resolve the issue. Okay. Understood. You can't buy anything else.
Don't buy nothing else.
You
ain't got no money,
They won't allow you to, right? Cool. I'm totally with that. You ain't got the money. We shutting you down until you get your shit straight. Cool. I'm all for that. But today, I go to press play on my music, and the shit about billing comes up, saying there's a billing issue. Please go and resolve it. Okay. I could not press play on a song that I paid for.
On a song you bought already?
I bought this shit. And I couldn't press play. And I'm just like, man, play my damn Al Green for the good times and get the fuck on somewhere. I bought this shit already. I already paid for it.
No, man. They want their money.
Man, look. I don't really want no problems with Apple in the end. I mean, like I said, we got a little issue that we're trying to work through. So Apple, please, just just don't do that no more. Just have a heart. I mean, I just want to play my shit that I've already paid for, and I want y'all to resolve this other issue that we got going on. But come on, man, that's fucked up. So that's all I got to say to Apple, because I don't want no problems. Because like I said, they giving me many free iPhones. Anytime my iPhone breaks, they give me a free one. It's all good.
Yeah, man. And I fools with Apple, man.
I don't want no problems with Apple, other than
you really don't want no problems with Apple.
Let me play my damn Al Green. Go.
Let me live.
And that's all I got.
All right, cool. So check this out. Damn, and I know the show's going a little bit long, but I was really, really excited about that article that I read. It's called "The Case Against Tokenism," and a couple other things. The whole thing wasn't about tokenism. He also just talked about African Americans being a powerful force and breaking down segregation, and he was saying that self-awareness was helping black people do that. So that was really interesting. So I wanted to share that, and also that the article talked about the act of nonviolence in a very, very educational way, which was super cool, because I thought nonviolence was just kind of whack. It's like, what is this boycotting gonna do? But what it explained was, the way they explained it, I just have a whole new respect for how nonviolence affects the oppressor. You know what I'm saying? Right. He explained how nonviolence creates a healthy form of discontent rather than hatred. And with nonviolence, you can struggle without hating, and you can fight without violence. You know, because when you're violent, you begin to hate your opponent, because you're fighting this person, they're hitting you back, and when they hit you, it makes you madder, and so you got this hatred. But with non-violence, you don't build that same discontent and hatred. And I never looked at it that way. And so one other thing, and I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. One other thing I thought he said that was really, really interesting was the key is that if you're a minority, the act of initiating violent acts, it can really speed up your extinction, because you're outnumbered. And being nonviolent, you have to be creative. You know what I'm saying? You have to find a creative way to hurt somebody or to make somebody feel what you're saying if you're nonviolent. So that was pretty cool. And he also said hate is always tragic. It is injurious to the hater and also to the hated. It distorts the personality and it scars the soul. And I was like, man, that is super, super deep that he would say something like that. So this was back in the 60s, man. This is why he was held with such high regard. He was saying this powerful stuff in the 60s. Not saying that there weren't smart people back then, but just the way that he spoke in the 60s totally speaks to what we're going through today. And that was a special guy, man. He's a very special man. Anyway, that's all I have about that. So I guess we can wrap this thing up. You all good?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
You all good?
I'm chilling.
All right. Well, there you have it. This is the Corporate Streetz podcast. We got another week down. You know what I'm saying? So what we want to tell you is, give us an opportunity to entertain you. Give us an opportunity to take that drive to work and make it more entertaining. Make that drive to work more fun. Give us a listen, man. We out here educating you. We out here giving you an opportunity to look at things from a different perspective. If you have a topic that you want to hear us talk about, you can email us at thecorporatestreetz@gmail.com. That's thecorporatestreetz with a Z. That's STREETZ @gmail.com. If you want to send us some emails and ask us our perspective on a situation you may have, we are the advice connoisseurs. We can definitely help you with that, and that's what you need to do, man. Just give us some of your time. Send us some emails. You need to do that. All right. Also, we are on iTunes and we are on SoundCloud. So give us a listen, give us a like, give us a rate. You know what I'm saying? Tell us what we're doing, man. We appreciate the feedback. We just want to make this show more interesting, and we want to make it so you feel like you're right there with us in our conversation. And that's all I have to say. You can listen to the Corporate Streetz podcast. This is the podcast for people who hear sirens and don't know whether somebody just got murked, or the old lady next door fell and you couldn't get up. You know what I'm saying? And that's it, man. Y'all have a good week.
Peace. Bye, everybody.